Happy Monday, everyone! I am so glad to see so many good and kind faces in the chat already. Hello, hello. I hope your Monday is absolutely fantastic. Congratulations on making it to fall, everyone. You have survived the heat of summer, so put on your cozy sweaters, grab your favorite cup of tea or hot cocoa or apple cider. It's that season, and snuggle in. And who better to help us with this cozy weather approach than our wonderful guest tonight. I gotta thank you all every time I come here on Monday for PinkPixels. I always see such wonderful and kind people in chat, and it's amazing. We remember that when we have these conversations, they're important because we have them together. By sharing and listening, we make the spaces that we're in so much richer, so much more welcoming and exciting and bigger. And I love that from you all. I have to shout out to Jay. Thank you so much for sharing your story about how you met your best friend through the Gamers app. And that reminds me of why so many of us get into gaming in the first place, is that we want to connect with people. We want to have all of these moments that matter to us, because gaming does matter. Those experiences that we have in there, those are just as valid as the ones we have in real life. And we want to share those with people. And so I'm glad that you have found a space where you connect with people, that you feel friendship, that you feel that community. And I want to bring in someone, as I mentioned, not only a cozy content creator, but she is also someone who has built a great community that is welcoming to everyone and is incredibly, on top of it, family friendly, a trick that I'm still working on. Every now and then I have a few slip ups. So tonight we're going to be on our best behavior. All right. So if your AC is on, you've got perfect weather for sweaters too, even if the outside is sweating. So let's turn it over and welcome, if you would, put your hands together for our guest, Miss Duchess Games. Duchess, come say hello to us.
Hi, everybody. I love how you said, it's the perfect time. The weather is changing. I unfortunately am in Texas. So the only time I can wear my sweater is inside right now. But, that's okay. I've created the cozy vibe in here. I got my AC on. I turned it up close so I could feel like the weather's changed outside. But in reality, it's hot. It's hot. But hi, everybody. I am Duchess. I like to call myself a cozy chaotic variety streamer and gamer. I mainly stream. I stream a lot of games, y'all. Like, I know I am marketed as cozy, but honey, I play all the games: horror, the shooters, and the cozy games. It's a mix of everything, which is why we're cozy but chaotic. But I've been doing this for about 2 years now. And it has been a journey, but I'm excited to hear and talk to you guys a little bit more.
I love that. And I'm so glad you clarified, because cozy isn't just a game genre. It's a way of life. It's a way in which we embrace things. And you have that combo of cozy, chaotic. Okay, first of all, I know I mentioned this earlier off stream, but your space has such warm vibes to it. Like, it looks like a soft glowing fire behind your couch is going on. We've got the beautiful brown schemes that give us that autumn feel. But you yourself also bring in that balance of welcoming, where like that coziness is coziness of where you belong, that comfort of like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I love that balance. Forget cozy games. Sometimes they provide us that. Sometimes it's also pure frustration, or who knows, whatever prices Tom Nook is offering us these days. And those turnip prices are never calm. But you have such an interesting and fun balance. Why did you in this initial approach think, I want to become a content creator, I want to build a community, I want to be someone who is considered cozy? This is who you are, who you've branded yourself. But when did you make that decision to say, well, that's who I want to be?
Absolutely. Okay. It's definitely come in stages for sure. So when I was younger, I always knew I was going to do something in content creation. I didn't know how, I didn't know what way it was going to be. I didn't know. I just knew I was going to do it one day. And my goal with that was like, I know I meant to bring positivity to people's lives every day. Like, if I can in some way every day, like once a day, if I can bring them some sort of positivity or something that, brightens their day, like I know I'm going to do that in the future. I just didn't know when I was younger. And so as I got older, I literally had an epiphany. It was like, I was probably late to the game, but we all use Google and stuff. And I was like, okay, Google. Yes, I understand Google. But one day I was like, oh, I want to learn how to do my hair. I need to do this, XYZ. So I searched it up and I found a YouTube video. I was like, oh, you can literally search for anything on YouTube. Wait, I can search how to do this and this and wait, what? Like, I feel like
The
it
whole
was like a slow
library.
moment as well. Like, I was just like, wait, you can search anything on here. And so I discovered a creator, All of Destiny. She does hair content. And I was like, wait, like, does she like make money doing this? Like, she does this all the time. And so I realized, I was like, wow, she's doing this full time. You know, she can literally work doing this, like sharing what she loves, like her everyday stuff, and people are watching. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, I would love to do something like that. So fast forward, I am a PK, preacher's kid. I grew up in a parents' household where they were like, listen, we want to make sure y'all good, y'all straight. We got y'all. And so with that came certain rules. And one of them was like no social media for the longest time. And with that, starting a YouTube channel was just very much so out of the picture, which I understand. My parents are trying to protect this. But like growing up, like as soon as I turned 18 and went to college, I was like, yes, it's my time. It is my time. And so I started my channel, but I started it with like not really understanding what I was doing, not in the sense of like the equipment and stuff to use, but like I was just like kind of scripting things. I was like, oh, that looks nice. I like that people do that. I'm gonna do that. And so I was like making, oh, how to plan and organize. Knowing good and well I wasn't organized and I didn't plan anything. I just wanted to help people. I was like, yes, okay, this is great content. People love seeing this. And so I started making it, but like I wasn't able to be consistent with it. I was terrible. I wasn't getting views, but I realized, I had to eventually realize it wasn't even because of the content itself. It was because of me, in the sense of it was something that I wasn't even passionate about in the first place. Yes, I'm passionate about helping people, but as far as the things that I was talking about in there, it was things that I was just kind of like, okay, let me do some research on it. Why do I have to do research on something I'm supposed to be passionate about and excited, to talk about? And so my channel didn't do well. I think I had that channel for about like 4 years. I didn't even hit like 100 subscribers. Like I wasn't really growing at all. And so eventually I was like, okay, I really want to do this YouTube thing, but I got to be strategic about it. I got to really hone in on it. But I realized, like, I've done all this research, watch this YouTuber, that YouTuber. They said, this is the key. This is how you do this. This is how you, all these different things that you watch before you become a creator. And you're like, okay, yes, I'm going to do it. Right. But the common theme I found was that a lot of the most successful creators, they're successful because they're doing something that they love and they're actually passionate about and actually care about. Right. And so that was something I was like, okay, what do I care about? What do I like? What do I like to do? I was like, well, I mean, I like to play games.
It
like,
takes a lot of reflection at that point. Like, hold on, wait,
who
are
really
you?
Does. It really does. It really does. And I never to this day thought I would become a gaming creator. I used to be one of those people who was like, why would you watch somebody play games? That's so boring. Like, you could just play it yourself. Like, what are we doing? Yes, I was one of those people. I was being a hater.
Yes.
My brother one day, he was like, come watch this with me. And I was like, okay, this will be sister brother bonding time. Let me just go ahead, because I'm the oldest.
For
I was
him.
like, yes. I was like, let me go ahead. We came across this creator, Berlizzi, used to watch all the time. And I was like, wait, this brother kind of funny. Hold on, wait. And we were laughing, having a good time, binging stuff with him. Like, it was like a good bonding moment, but I was also like, wait, I get it. I understand why people watch it. And so
you found your Goldilocks spot, right? Like, it's the right content creator to the right viewer. It's like, oh, this is why it's enjoyable. Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. And so I was like, okay, I get it. And so when it came to asking myself that question, okay, what do I like? Okay, I love to play games. And I'm like, I mean, why don't I do that? I'm like, maybe I could do that. So I was like, let me just do a little bit of research, see if I could find any other gamers who look like me. Like, is there any other like Black gamers? Is there any other Black female gamers? And so that's when I came upon Jazzy Guns and Christine. And I was like, oh, wait, they're really out here doing this. Like, I never knew they existed at all. Like, first of all, I didn't know that there was a lot of female gamers out there. And I know there's a lot of Black female gamers out there. I was like, wait, like there's this whole space that I didn't know was there. And I was like, okay, right. I'm like, okay, we're here. Okay, I can do this. If they could do this, I could do it.
But you did have to go looking, right? That's also, let's flag that for a hot second, that it wasn't delivered to you where a lot of other content was. You had to find it.
I absolutely did. Yeah, no, that's a great point that you pointed out, right? Because that was something that was really important to me. And it's also a crucial piece to like why I started my channel and the way I decided to go about it, right? So when I was searching, I was like, okay, is there Black female gamers? When you search like the Black female gamers who are like, present and very popular, like in this space, they weren't the first ones that popped up. And I don't understand why, but it was like older videos, like hasn't posted in 2 years. I'm like, why is it that like one, it was already hard enough to find them in the first place, but I finally find them and then it's not up to date, current, like I can't find anybody. And then the people who actually are making content and posting, I have to like dig and search and find them in somebody else's tagged video or a collab that they did with a guy gamer. You know, it was, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, I really had to dig and search and find like to find any other Black female gamers. And I was like, wow, I was like, there's not really that many in this space. I was like, I would love, you know, to be able to amplify, you know, other voices in this space, but also be able to be an example like that you can do this and that, you know, we are here. Like I know there's Black female gamers out here because I'm one of them.
Yes.
But as far as like being present and seen in like the content creator space, I was like, that's definitely a gap that needs to be filled.
Yes. And I love that. Like, yeah, we of course want to support and amplify, but it's such an important thing that you see in yourself that you need to be a part of it. Your voice is the key in there. It can't be just, yeah, I'm going to go support, I'm going to go watch, but you're like, there is that hole. There is that opportunity and you have that chance to step in and you did. So you've been doing, I love that you gave us this kind of initial rise and fall, because I think some people look at it like, oh, you turned on your camera, things just fell in place for you, right? It automatically went viral, you're good to go. And it was an easy path. But to share this journey of like, you know, you did it for a while, you recognize what didn't work for you, which is such a hard and important lesson when you're working for yourself in this space. And you came back with it with a new reflection, new set of eyes, and who you are. So
absolutely
seeing this opportunity, this now like, okay, all right, they're there, but there's not enough. And we're not where we should be in this. Where did you begin to say, all right, let's turn this camera back on. Let's revolutionize what we're doing in this space?
So this discovery, luckily for me, based on the way my brain works, it happened like right before New Year's. So I also had that New Year drive, like, yes, exactly. But I like prepare. Like I had like a few months, I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare. I literally like had everything. Like I created my little channel banner. I created my descriptions, my like everything that I could possibly have prepared. I had my little channel list. I recorded stuff early. I was like, I know my first video will be ready to post it. I'm not going to start in January. It'll be ready to be posted. Man,
perfect.
I was not playing. I went all out. I even bought like this $1,000 camera. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna do this, right? And so I literally started my channel in the beginning of the year, and it did not go as smoothly as I thought it was gonna go. I did all the prepping and planning that I possibly thought I could, and everything just was like, nope, that's not gonna work. You're gonna try something else. Nope, not there either. You're gonna have to try something else. And I'll give a prime example of this. I had this $1,000 camera. I was like, yes, this is what I need, right? I couldn't upload stuff to my phone to edit. I was like uploading 2-hour long videos, and my phone was like, you don't have enough space. And I was like, but I just bought space. How don't I have space? And it was like trying to like figure that out. It was to the point where I literally recorded myself on camera, had to plug it up to a laptop, then prop up the laptop, prop up my phone on a tripod, and record the video of me playing on the laptop because I couldn't transfer it over. Now, nobody would know it to this day because you couldn't tell, but like it took a lot for me to get there. It took a lot for me to get there.
That is a struggle. That is for many people go, no, this isn't working.
Listen, absolutely. And like the crazy part is when the shift happened to where things got easier, because I actually didn't start off streaming. That first month I was like recording, edit, put out a video. Like I was like, I'm going to put out 2 videos a week and we're good to go. And so unfortunately what happened for me is literally at the beginning of February, the very beginning of February, I lost my job. At the very beginning of February. I was like, bro, what am I going to do? I'm like, this is my first apartment. I live by myself. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was like, you know what? Okay. I don't know what anybody's religion is, but I was like, God got me. So I was like, okay, I'll be okay. I'll be cool. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to woosah. And I'm like, this is perfect. This means I have all the time to work on my content. So in the meantime,
silver lining that is.
Yes, I was like, silver lining. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. And so I remember not being able to record and edit the last episode of Little Nightmares. For the life of me, I couldn't. It just wasn't working. I was like, I'll just try streaming.
Yeah.
So I had got this little PlayStation camera and like connected everything to my PlayStation. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go live. And I started going live like from there. And from then on, I streamed everything, literally any and everything, every single game I played. It got to a point where like I was streaming every single day of the week, not just 2 hours, 3 hours, not 4 hours. I was streaming 10, 12, 14 hours every single day.
I need a nap after just hearing that. Okay, that is more than, of course, whatever you were working. That's not a normal hour week. That is
not at
massive
all.
overtime. There's no relief behind that. I can't. Okay, so I even just like you do day 1, you do day 2. There's some initial momentum behind it. You're like, okay, we're starting off this new plan. You can be excited about the silver linings approach that you've concocted at this point. But was there a middle point before things really started clicking where you thought, oh, this is going to be really hard. This is going to be very exhausting. Can I keep up this pacing?
Absolutely. When I realized that I couldn't, I got burnt out. I kid you not, it wasn't even just like days at a time or weeks. It was like months of me streaming every single day for that long. Yes. It got to a point where I just got burnt out because I was like, I never experienced doing this much content and doing this consistently before. So I didn't like realize what burnout was until I experienced it. I was like, oh, like I'm gonna get sick. Like if I don't like actually like take a second, like take a breather and like relax a little bit, you know, like I literally had to sit myself down because I was like, I was sick, like I wasn't feeling well, like I was just dog tired, like, and then I just didn't have a desire to even stream. I was like, bro, like I'm tired, like I want to rest. And so it was like, it got to a point where it was like every day I was like having that pep talk in my head. Like before I would start streaming, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna get up. I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna stream. And it was a great stream. It was an amazing stream, got some subscribers. The community was great, had a fun time playing the game. And then the same thing would happen every day to the point where it was like, I just couldn't. I literally just couldn't.
Isn't that the emotional difficulty though, where the stream itself is amazing? Like you love the people that you're connecting with, you love the experiences that are there, but you don't feel recharged at the end of the day. And then you go back in and you have to then match that same energy that you had the day before.
Exactly. That is the point where I also realized that I was overexerting myself in my streams. So of course I was like, be me. Like I was like, I'm gonna be me. Like, and when people ask to be like, just be yourself. Like be yourself on camera. You want people to come to your streams, like come to your channel for you. You don't want to have to be somebody you're not, right? But I didn't realize I was like overexerting and like over amplifying who I am, if that makes sense. Like I'm not a rah rah da 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 like all the time. Like now I can have fun, like getting rambunctious or whatever. But that's not me all the time. But that's the precedent that I set when I turned the camera on. So I had to keep that up and I had that pressure to keep that up all the time. And that was at a time where I dealt with a lot of anxiety. I was still, oh my God.
That's not a good combo.
Not at all. It wasn't a good combo at all. You know, so I was like with that, like overexerting myself. I was trying to combat burnout. On top of that, I was literally like doing these super long streams. And then I would get up and be like, well, I got to make money. I got to pay these bills somehow. So let me go Instacart. So I go Instacart and then go straight. So it was like, I wasn't getting, like, I was literally running on fumes, but I was like, I'm going to get this. Like, this is the year. Like, this is my year. I'm going to do this. Like, I'm gaining momentum. I just got to keep going. Got to keep going. Got to keep going. Like everybody says, like, you know, you have your moment where you turn it up and you work hard and you do all this. But it was like one of those moments, like as an adult, that you realize, oh, like this is what people mean. Like when you have that moment, you realize you got to take care of yourself. Like you realize like at some point, like you got to take a step back. Like you gotta have balance when it comes to like, yes, be passionate about what you love. Like, yes, work hard for the things that you want, but you still got to take care of yourself. Cause if you don't, you're going to be forced to. And I was forced to. I had to take off like 2 weeks, which was like, for me, I was like, no, like going from streaming every day to like take off 2 weeks. I was like, oh my God, I'm like, nobody's going to
just be so there. You know, people take like at least weekly, or if you're European, you take month-long vacations. What are you doing? And you're like, I can't take this.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
You're pushing yourself, and I get that challenge, right? Like you when you start getting that momentum, especially because who you're negotiating with isn't necessarily the followers. So, your community, they're loving, they're supportive, right? They understand it. You're arguing with a platform, an algorithm that doesn't
Mhm.
understand, oh, you need a mental health break. You need a
Yes.
physical health break for two
Yeah.
weeks, all right, or a month, and it doesn't understand why you're
Mhm.
not there. It just says you're not there. And so now it's no longer
Right.
going to let people know, hey, you're live. Hey, here's a stream that you missed.
Exactly.
That's the difficult
Mhm.
part versus when you're at an employer, there's a human conversation still that typically happens.
Yeah. 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 I was literally, sat down and, you know, it like there was like like I said, like the way that I came into this, like it was like definitely like in stages. Cause even, throughout that time that I was like, constantly going and going and going, like, I was successful. Like I
Mhm.
was seeing the numbers grow. I was like, okay, like this
Yeah.
is working. This is working.
Me
But
destroying
like
myself is very profitable. I can
you know,
I can have a community and I can do this full
mhm.
time if I am not a person.
Like, honestly, that's sometimes, not even sometimes, a lot
Yeah.
of times the reality of being a content creator. A lot of times the reality of it. And I've gotten to a point where honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, probably, but I just don't care anymore. I don't. Like, yes, I want to grow. Yes, I am passionate about what I want to do, but not to the point where I'm going to literally like make myself sick or like
Mhm.
turn into somebody I'm not, or not be able to actually enjoy life while I'm doing this. This is supposed to be something that I'm still passionate about. Yes, this has become something that I do for work as well. But it's still something that I'm passionate about. And I got to treat it like a passion, the same way I would with any of my other passions.
Mhm. Boundaries, respect, both for the hobby itself and for yourself.
Mhm. Yes,
what
absolutely.
what a lesson.
Okay, who are you telling? And I
Yeah.
don't want anybody to think that this was like I was just getting by the thousands, y'all. Like this was me like being excited, getting like 3 or 5 like subscribers a day. Like this is not me like, oh boom, you're off to 1,000. No, it took the entire year for me to even hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And the me even blowing up to where I'm at now, like that was like a video that like, just took off. But like there was a lot that changed over that course of time. And it was, even though it worked, it just wasn't sustainable for me to do that every single day. And then I eventually did get another job. I started another job. I moved down here to Texas in the middle of that. I even at one point broke my monitor and couldn't stream for a little bit. I was moving and I literally like it fell like straight through the bottom of the box. Yeah. Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
your heart just break at that? Like, I wish I had broken a bone instead of my monitor. Like
I, no, I kid you not. I didn't even look at it. I just picked it up, put it back in the box. I was like, you know what? I didn't even look at it for days. I just knew it was broken. I just knew it was. And when I finally turned it on, I was like, yep.
I like that you were in
Yep.
denial. If I don't open the box, maybe it's not broken.
Maybe it'll, yeah, maybe,
Maybe the
yeah.
magical, elves or shoe cobblers will come in and fix
Mhm.
the monitor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, yes, a girl can dream. I, but that's also another fear because what you do, all this equipment, it impacts your life. This is what's
Mhm.
keeping you afloat, and you don't have someone else who can just be like, "Hey, here's a monitor. This is
Mhm.
just a work expense. This is you
Mhm.
trying to figure out how do I make this work." All the decisions,
Mhm.
all the pros, the cons, the gains, the
Mhm.
losses, all of it is on your
Mhm.
shoulders. It's not one that you
Yeah.
share with anyone else.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, look, it would have been nice to share it with others. And honestly, like this is something that a lot of people, I guess, don't realize too. It's like one thing that like I had as an experience, and I didn't realize until later on. This was a common experience. A lot of like gaming creators, like they'll start out and like they'll have like a big have a friend group. Like this will be the friend group that you'll be like, yes, we're gonna start a podcast. This is our gonna be our group name.
Yeah.
We're gonna do XYZ. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. So it was a lot that I realized, oh, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Like I'm actually gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like it got to a point where I was relying on other people so that I could stream, in the sense of like I have to stream with somebody. If I don't stream with somebody, I won't be entertaining. Like I won't be entertaining if I have other people, or if there's not other entertaining people on the stream with me. Like I can't stream by myself. Ironically enough, even though that's where I started, like that's where I built a lot of my community, was streaming by myself. So it was just, oh my goodness. It was like some kind of imposter syndrome or something. Like, no, like they're not gonna want to watch me, even though it's my channel,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reason why they started at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, when you hit certain growth marks, that's where you have to start looking around like, how do I keep growing? How do I continue to
Yes.
become better? And you don't
Mm-hmm.
have someone who is like a stream coach who's going to come in and be like, all right, here's the next steps that you need to take, who's giving you
Right, right.
feedback. You have to have such a degree of self awareness. And that's hard, as we mentioned, especially if you've got anxiety or, right, and you're growing in
Mm-hmm.
this space, it can be difficult to see ourselves in a healthy
Mm-hmm.
light.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I 100% completely agree. It's gotten to a point for me now where I've stopped streaming every day. Like I tried to get back into streaming every day, but just doing lesser hours. But I was like, it's just not feasible. I
Yeah.
just need time to be me and just think and just mentally relax. And if I feel like streaming an extra day on that day, I'll like, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. But like I just like really had to take just take a step back. But like that's been like the huge shift for me this year. And I've been blessed. Like my channel like blew up. I was able to hit 30,000 subscribers this year. So
So great.
yeah, so we're continuing to continue to grow. But that's also kind of where like you asked me about like getting into like that cozy gaming era. That
Yes.
was never me, honestly. Like I was actually fighting it for the longest time. Being somebody who was trying to amplify Black female voices in this space, especially the female part of that. And
Mhm.
not, I didn't want to be typecast as like, oh, she's just a girly gamer and she's only getting viewers and subscribers because she's cute and she's, I didn't want that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
But there's more. There's
you
more
know,
to us, right?
Mhm. There's
Yes.
exactly. And I didn't want to be typecast as that. I wanted to be like, no, show people like, no, like you can be yourself. You don't have to act like this or do that to be a streamer or a gamer or a content creator. You can
Mhm.
literally just be your authentic self, which is why it's such a huge emphasis for me. The fact that not only am I a Black female streamer and gamer, but I'm a family friendly Black female streamer and gamer. Because also just showing, like, for an example, that you don't have to cuss all the time. You don't have to say all the crazy things just so you can entertain people. Like, yes, like that's a thing. Like, I get it.
It
It's
is.
entertaining. It's funny,
It
but
makes
you
for
don't
really good
have to do
clips.
that. It does. It does. It really does. But you don't have to do that. Like, I don't want anybody to
Mhm.
ever feel like they have to do that or like, I'm not gonna get views if I do that, or like compromise themselves.
Yeah.
Because I even went through a point where I like compromised myself at one point where I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just start doing 18 plus streams and maybe I should just start. And I started like letting different things slide. And I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like I felt like an old lady, like when you hear like young kids like cuss, I'm like, oh my God, like, oh my God.
Girls,
I
where
was
are
like,
they? Can
no,
I
no.
clutch them?
No, actually, no. I was like, wait, okay, oh, no. Regroup. What are we
Yeah.
doing here, Duchess? What are we doing here?
But
But
this is
just
something you're experiencing publicly. Just like as we
Mhm.
grow individually in our social lives, or here we are growing professionally, you try different
Mhm.
ventures and you discover like, oh no, that's
Mhm.
not who I am. That's not what I want to be.
Mhm.
The challenge
Mhm.
is that you have to do it publicly when you're doing it with your stream. So much of what we do, like when we grow up, I'm quite grateful I didn't have as much social media growing up. I can't imagine having TikTok growing up. It would have been a whole new issue, right? But
Mhm.
to have so much more of your life being private, where when you make decisions or you make mistakes, or we're not always perfect people, but to have that lesson be for you
Mhm.
and the other people that might just impact it is one thing, versus now
Mhm.
it's streamed, everything's recorded, the
Yes.
content that you've made is understood, people sometimes follow
Mhm.
you just for that particular reason, and now that's the only way in
Absolutely.
which they know you. That's hard. It's
Mhm.
not a wrong journey, but it is a journey now that people have seen you go through. And it's an exploration for you to find out who you are and who you want to be in this space.
Mhm.
So you
Absolutely.
discovered, right, being family friendly is the route you wanted to go. What
Absolutely.
has it been like to build a
Mhm.
community with that kind of pillar in place?
Mhm. It's honestly been pretty cool. Because I feel like being a family friendly like community and channel, I feel like that's helped enhance the community because it makes it more
Mhm.
about like being positive and like having fun with each other. But the cool thing about it is I'm also very real with my community. Like I am very like I'm a straightforward person, right? So just like letting them know, like, yes, like we are a positive community, but even just like being able to have vulnerable moments like with them, like a lot of them have like shared things and like this is what's going on. Like we've been able to like grow closer as a community. Like okay, like talking to each other. Like okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give a pep talk, and we go, no, it's okay. Like this, how we gonna get through it. But like fostering a community where it's positive and uplifting, but it's not like feeling like there's a bunch of craziness like this is going on XYZ, or I'm like feel like I need to perform to do XYZ. I could just like be straight up real with them because at the core of it in itself, I'm like a family friendly person. I don't even cuss in real life.
Yeah.
I would say there's one time I cussed on stream and I was playing Outlast and it tore me up. I suffice it to say I haven't played Outlast
That
since.
game pushed
But
you to
yeah,
places you didn't want to be.
oh, I kid you not. That jump scare got me so bad. Not only did I yell a curse word in the microphone, my headphones came off, accidentally knocked the camera off. It was yeah.
Very
Yeah.
visceral reaction. But yeah, that's like the exception, right? And who you are. And I love it because you're right. Like there's a not cursing is not just a choice of like, well, we
Mhm,
don't say words like that. It's
mhm,
thinking about the context of situations that
mhm.
prompt us to use language like that. And that
Yes.
that
Yes.
changes the tone. It changes
Mhm,
the community, the environment that you I think some
mhm.
people might default to say if family friendly is the tag there, that means it's for children, and that's not the case.
And it's not,
Mhm.
yeah. It's about making it feel like a safer space. Because if you think about it, like if I don't cuss on the regular, but when I'm angry, I'm cussing all the time. It's like, okay, then how are we gonna have a community where we can talk to each other, or if something's going wrong, or somebody's in disagreement in the chat, we're not cussing each other out. And so that's the thing that I value about my community because they don't do that. Like they can have disagreements, like we have debates in my chat, like we'll talk about something, but we have like good conversations. It's not like negative towards each other. Like we're having good conversation. We don't have to cuss each other out, or even if somebody disagrees with something, doesn't like something, it's not an immediate like crazy. Now it got crazy arguments in there, crazy arguments in the Discord. It's like still feeling like it's a safe space, especially in a community where with it being family friendly, while it's not just for kids, I have people of all ages in my chat. So
Mhm.
also being able to recognize that and being a community where everybody and anybody of all ages, genders, race, whoever, anybody can come through and still feel like they're a part of the community.
I think that's really smart. It's thinking much more broadly of it's not just what these personal preferences are. It's us being intentional and knowing how this impacts other people, especially if you handle debates. Debates are heated, right? And if you throw in tone like that, especially when people can't see facial expressions, they don't have
Mhm,
additional context, it does make it a lot easier for people to get upset,
mhm.
take it personal, things begin to spiral. And I
Yes.
was like, hold on, hold on. We were just arguing if Gojo is the best anime, right? Like anime character. That's not where we want to take things. So
Mhm,
what an interesting and smart tactic for you to pull in. Now,
mhm.
for your community, I mean, obviously, you seem like you dote on them. You enjoy the community members. I see, of course, we've got
Mhm.
a few wonderful individuals here in chat today. Hello, thank you for coming over. What is it that you love about your community?
Oh, I love how sweet they are. They're just all so sweet. Like,
All of them?
oh my gosh. Mike, no, actually, no. Actually, though, all of them are so super sweet. Like, I'll even like shout out my OGs. Like, I gotta shout out Lisa.
Hmm.
Lisa, she was there from the jump. Like before I even started streaming, she was watching my little videos when I had my little hi, I'm Duchess. Like she was there from the jump and she's still been here, started her own channel and everything. But like
Hmm.
all of them are like really sweet and support each other and are like they make it a point to uphold like the community being positive. Like something's like they'll ping Duchess like, hey, this is going on. Like, okay, just want to let you know because it's a little weird. Or hey, somebody's cussing in the chat. They say something before I do. So somebody's talking crazy. Like they say something before I do. Like
Yeah.
it's just like it's not just me upholding the positive community, it's them doing it as well. And so it's like it just creates like a fun space just where we can all like just hang out and like just be so very real. Like I told you, I'm very straightforward. The last thing I want to do is put on a front to my community because in a space where it's content creation and you're consistently on the camera and people are consistently invested in your life and what you have going on, I'm like, why would I want to have to fake that? Like that's just so mentally draining
Yeah.
and exhausting. And with getting to know your community, building a relationship, I'm like, I want them to get to know the real me.
Mhm.
Like this is me, like show up as myself. So I just love that they in turn like foster a community where I can be myself, and could just truly be me. And if I need a break, like I'm on a little break right now. Like I just needed a mental break, but they're sweet. Like they're in the just kind of like Duchess, like take as much time as you need. Like take care of yourself. Like
Right.
don't come back here until you're taking care of yourself,
Mhm.
which I can appreciate.
I love that. Well, and it's good, right? And it shows how you've been successful as a content creator when you find
Mhm,
people who not only enjoy your content, but emulate the values, the community tenets that you've been trying to build. Because, I mean, as you
mhm,
continue to grow, people don't just stay for you, right? I
mhm.
mean, you are amazing. I'm not trying to discredit you anyway, right? But they're hooked by you and then they meet the community and they go, oh, this is a home. you've pulled
Yes.
in the work as you as this content creator. It's not just that you're making entertaining content, but you have
Mhm.
built a space. You have brought in other people
Mhm.
that also have those same values, and that they're not just connecting with you, they're now connecting with a
Mhm.
group of individuals, right? They
Mhm.
have friends, they have this family digital
Yes.
space that we've developed together
Mhm.
thanks to the hard work that you've put in. But that it's important to make sure that you do have those people. Community members, I don't think
Yes.
understand how important and how amazing they are when they come
Mhm.
in and they emulate those values.
Mhm.
When you
They
see
actually
someone, you're like,
do.
you get it, you get what I'm trying to go for, and they match that
Yes.
energy, and you're like, I
Mhm.
could,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna kiss them, right? Because that would be uncomfortable and violating. But like, you're like, I appreciate you so much, you precious
Oh,
angel.
absolutely.
Yes, yes, they do so much. Now for you, right, obviously you've had even Lisa all the way from the very beginning, but what are some
Mhm.
hopes as you look towards the future? You're still growing, your
Mhm.
YouTube's still amazing content. What do you continue to hope for your community as you keep growing? Those
Mhm.
growth pains always come along, and we can
Mhm.
see them as like, oh no, this is challenging, how do I take and manage a larger
Mhm.
community? But on the flip side, that silver lining, what are things
Mhm.
are you looking forward to? Like, if we get to this next step, here's the next challenge, here's where I want to push them next to offer them a better experience, a new opportunity, or whatever it is.
Absolutely. So on one end, definitely continuing to build the community to a space where they won't need me to be as hands-on, in the sense of, if the goal is continuing to grow, it's going to be a lot more people, right? It's going to be a lot more people in the community, a lot more people, chit chatter. And the reality of it is, it's harder to manage. It's harder to engage in every little single thing. The more that that I continue to grow, right? The more
Mhm.
that I have different things going on, or this event, that event, I can't stream, or or if the chat's going crazy and I can't read every single message. But I still want it to be a community where, like, they're all like, they recognize each other and can still talk to each other, so it doesn't feel like, oh well, I mean, it's not really the same. Like, nobody's really talking to each other. Nobody's like, that's why, like, I continue to, like, as much as I can, like, I will read every single chat message. I will sit there and I will, like, still respond and, like, talk to everybody in the Discord, because I want to get to know them. But I also want to build a community that's like a community within itself. Like, they still talk to each other as well and engage with each other, and, check on each other, play the games with each other, which they still do. So I'm excited about that. Happy, like, they'll hop in each other's streams and, like, play games with each other and stuff like that. So like, that's definitely something that I want to see. On the other end, I've started to introduce more, like, of my lifestyle stuff, because that's part of where
Mm.
that cozy part came into.
Mhm.
Because I realized that even though I like playing all these different games, my vibe, like, the perfect word to describe my vibe itself, is cozy. Like, you see the
And
what I got
chaotic.
going on here in the background. Yes, and chaotic.
Well, I
I
throw
think
that
the
in.
chaotic part. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, the chaotic part is, like, definitely part personality and part the games I play.
Yeah.
Because I will yell and I will scream and
Yes.
I will get loud. Maybe not during a cozy game, but I will still yell. And yes, yes. At the end of the day, all I can do is be me.
That's true. That's true. Embrace it. But that's what I like, is
Hmm.
that you give yourself space to be you, right? And this has kind of been
Hmm.
a theme that you've mentioned throughout, is that you're not putting on a persona. Even though this is
Hmm.
entertainment, it's you. It's you being real. And instead of like capital E entertainment, it feels more of, hey, you're inviting people to live with you, not live in with you. Like you get like you're living life together,
Hmm.
experience what it is. So that way it is who you
Hmm.
are. You allow yourself to bring in that cozy aspect. But we've seen your facial
Yes.
expressions. All right, they're excellent. They're phenomenal. Even you are expressive. You allow yourself to experience that full
Hmm.
range of emotions, and not just, we're really excited to really angry to really sad, but also the
Hmm.
intensity in which we have those.
Hmm.
A lot of content
Yeah.
creators will see that like it's all intense and we're all really, it's just the
Hmm.
full throttle on how we're
Hmm.
feeling things. And that makes things catchy, but that's
Hmm.
not very sustainable.
Hmm. Absolutely. No, I 100% agree. That's a huge shift, actually, that I
Mhm.
made this year. Like, in my, like, I was telling you about how I didn't want to be typecast as, like, a girly girl gamer, but in doing that, I also kind of hurt myself because I didn't tap into that side of me because that side of me is still there.
Oh.
So this year I started like my first cozy game. I would say real cozy game. I was like, okay, this is a cozy game. I'm gonna play it. Was Disney Dreamlight Valley. And so I was telling you a little bit earlier about like me playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. I was like, okay, one of my favorite Disney movie is like Ratatouille. Aside from Princess and the Frog, I love Ratatouille. And I was like, oh, I get to have like Remy can live right next to me. Like I was hyped. I honestly didn't think I was gonna like. I was like, this is a free game on Game Pass. I'll try it, whatever.
Yes.
Like it seems like people like it, and I tried. I was like, wait. I never thought I would like this like cutesy, cozy. I feel like it's like a little bit more of a girly game. I was like, okay, I like this. As I started trying more cozy games, I was like, wait, hold on, like this might be kind of my thing. So that's where like that cozy came in because it was like I initially always described like our community as like cozy, chaotic, and classy, right?
Yes.
But definitely leaning into that more cozy side because the cozy side is actually more of like the lifestyle vibe for me, like how I am, like the aesthetic, I guess, like the lifestyle, like the way that I like my space to be set up and like my overall vibe. It's like a cozy, like comforting vibe. And like that's what I've been told, like I guess the coin I've been told, especially like in work, is like I have like kind of like a Southern hospitality vibe about myself. But just like kind of marrying that together with, okay, now I like cozy games. I do. And I have tapped to that cozy side of me, but I'm also still the chaotic self I am. Like I enjoy my occasional horror game. I love my shooters. Like I will play Fortnite all day, every day. So just like merging that together. It's like, that's the thing I'm trying to do now is like figure out how I can merge that together in a space where I still also have to work the algorithm. The algorithm has to understand what is she doing?
Yeah. And YouTube is particular about that. They like YouTube as a platform loves categories, right? Like you play Fortnite or you're only doing battle royales at least, right? And then if you're also doing battle royales and cozy and talking and it's like, how do I serve you? And then it just doesn't. That's difficult. I think there's a couple things I want to dig in there because I think it's just fascinating how you've gone through this and where you are today. I love it. But you highlight so many difficult issues working backwards, right? The challenge of how do you negotiate with a platform to try to tell this non-human being who you are and what human beings you should be connecting to. What a difficult things. Like, and you say like, oh, you know, we could do the SEO song and dance. Like if we do hashtags and we have the correct stream titles, suddenly YouTube will understand who we're supposed to be. But that's not easy. But the more important thing that you had mentioned earlier that I thought was interesting of how you didn't really tap into your girly gamer side because you wanted to avoid that stereotype, which totally understandable. But at the same time, understanding that consequence of you had to choose to suppress a side of you, or at least not give yourself the chance to explore it, which is unfortunate, right? Like at the same time, like when we hear things, sometimes we try to avoid those consequences of like, yeah, well, she only got popular because she's a cute little girl, and which is super demeaning to refer to people like a cute little girl, right? Unless she's actually a 4-year-old child, right? Right? Like the grown women here, don't refer to them as cute little girls.
Cute little girls, right?
Yeah. And to say you can't explore that because you have to be worried about how people will frame you, how that may change the opportunities you have of the type of comments that you'll get, because people always feel comfortable sharing what they want in a comic section on YouTube, right? So
yes.
to have to shift, and I'm glad you're not there anymore, but at what point did you go, I want to, I deserve this, I'm allowed to be myself? You've opened up so many other doors of who you are. When did you know you were ready to do that one as well?
The very first day I played Disney Dreamlight Valley on stream, like I had like a complete genuine smile throughout the entire stream. And I was just like so excited and happy. Like it was like the little kid in me like lit up and was like, like even like my voice got higher pitched and everything. Like I was just like super excited like the whole time. And I was just like so happy. It was like discover these little things. I was like, wow, it's like I really enjoy this. I'm like, wow, like I've never like given myself the opportunity to do this. Like I've always been playing these scary games where I'm scared and I'm screaming and I'm freaking out and I'm playing like Fortnite. Now granted, Fortnite's probably like one of my favorite games aside from Skyrim.
Yeah, not cozy though.
but not cozy at all, right? And like I will yell like, "Oh my god, no!" Like I will scream and yell.
Yeah.
And so it's just like realizing, oh, like there is a lane for me also to be my chill, like relaxed self too. That was the cool part because it was like with playing that game, I drew in also a new audience and new members of the community who watched those type of games. And so they were okay and are okay with me being chill and laid back and my just relax. Like I'm just chilling. I'm not feeling like I got to do like do all XYZ. Like I'm exploring more, but I do like the most worst impressions of these characters. Like I'm sitting here trying to talk like Mickey Mouse or like trying to talk like Merlin. Like
I'm sure it's perfect. Perfect every time. Any chance we could get a Mickey impression?
Whoa, hiya, guys.
I loved it. I loved it. That was amazing. But see, like that unlocks like a new form of vulnerability, a new opportunity to share. And you know, as we're seeing in chat, right? Like there's something so wonderful about you to be able to experience the things that you love in different ways. The way that we love Fortnite is different than the way we're going to love Dreamlight Valley, but both are equally valid, and we shouldn't suppress the joys that we have. That's harmful. Now, chat has mentioned that you should play. Sunny said Palia, and Black Tie Jack said Animal Crossing. So it sounds like you have some good classics on your to-do list to add in there.
Yes. And don't worry, guys. I got that on my list. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Jax. Jax is also an OG. Quick, this is you actually. Well, before I do this, because I can go in on Jax. Shout out to Sunny. She's been super sweet. She's part of what made me feel so welcomed in the cozy gaming community. So shout out to you, Sunny. But a quick blurb on that. Like you talked about, like fostering like this community, right? And the community where I could be myself and they could be themselves, and it's a positive community. I have to give like the biggest shout out to Jax because like he's a huge reason of like how we even like he's a huge piece of our community, right? And like, you know, he's a kid, like he just turned 13. Tell me what this kid was like, Duchess, I can make your thumbnails for you. Duchess, I can, and he helped me make my thumbnails and everything for every stream. Mind you, I'm doing 2-3 streams a day. Here, Duchess, here's your thumbnail. Here all the moderating the chat, everything, and still going to school and like still doing his own channel and everything, like just like going in. I'm like, how is this? Like, I'm like, that was part of my motivation, to be honest with you. Like just seeing, I mean, he's a kid doing all this. I'm like,
working here, dang.
No, like actually working. Like, and shout out to him, he's about to hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm so proud of you, Jax. So proud of him. But yeah, like just that was like a great example of like how much I love my community, because like not only are we like very candid with each other and like we be open and positive, but just like always like helping each other out, or like hey so and so, like somebody else talking to I subscribed to your channel, just won't let you know I subscribed to your channel and went ahead and supported you, or popping up in each other's streams, or just playing the game with each other, or if somebody says, hey, I had a bad day, like encouraging each other, different things like that. So just like Jax is a great example. If I had to give a great example of what the Royal Court looks like, Jax is the prime example of what like who the Royal Court is. If I had to use anybody as an example.
I love that. These are the things we love to hear, right? When we just can't help but to talk about the people, the games, the things that we love in life. Like that is such a perfect example of why we do any of this. Life is exhausting without it. And so when we just, I loved it. It was a complete tangent that we needed today. So thank you. And Black Tie, thank you so much for being a community member like this, because it just shows the potential that can be had in these spaces. Oh, I love that. Now, you dropped a little nugget there, and I want us to pick it up and polish this. Right? You mentioned the Royal Court, right? You have the Royal Court. You are the Duchess, right? Talk to us about the choices in naming here. How did you even choose Miss Duchess Games?
Well, now that I'm also thinking about it, you also kind of answered something for me in my head that I hadn't realized until now, which is why I'm so like excited playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. But growing up, my mom and my sisters, I'm the oldest, but I also have 2 sisters. And so we grew up watching like a lot of like princess movies, like anything like princess, watching Disney. And of course it was balanced. Like I genuinely like got a lot of this stuff from my mom, because it's a balance of loving all my Disney cutesy Hallmark stuff, but then I could sit down and watch like a Lifetime movie or watch a horror movie with my dad. Like it's definitely the balance. But one of my favorite movies, like all time, I could watch it over and over again, and I never do that with any movie, is Ever After. And so watching movies like that, like growing up, like I learned what a duchess was. Like, yes, everybody knows what a queen is or a princess, right? But I like the Duchess. Reason being is a Duchess in her position. Yes, she's in a position of being over people. Yes, she's in a position where, she has to regard herself in a certain kind of way. And that's kind of how I feel, like, especially being the oldest, like I have to regard myself in a certain way. Like I'm an example to my siblings, right? I'm also an example in this space. I'm trying to amplify a certain voice. So recognizing the things I do, like the repercussions of my actions are bigger than myself because of what I represent, like with there being such a huge gap in this space. And I'm like, what better to represent that than calling myself a Duchess, right? Because the Duchess, she has to represent, so, she also has to delegate. She also has to step up sometimes, right, into a role as a princess. Sometimes a Duchess becomes a queen. There's different roles that they have to step into and be versatile, but carry yourself in a certain way with a certain respect for yourself, but also being very real. A Duchess, with her having different roles, she also is closer to the people, right? Than like a straight up queen maybe, or a straight up princess maybe. She has direct access to the people.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Because my next follow-up was going to be, what's a Duchess? And you're like, I already prepared this. I was half for a second thinking you'd pull up a PowerPoint in it. But this is what I appreciate, is that when you've taken these steps, you've been thoughtful along each decision of what does this represent? What does this mean? How do I want my audience, who might read into every decision I make, right? Like it's like when you get into a lore movie and you pick up these small little things like, oh, that's symbolism for this. You chose Duchess for a reason because you wanted to reflect the type of relationship you have with your community. I love that spawned from the movie Ever After. That's darling in and of itself. But it's so important. And this makes me just realize how important it is to you about this stream. No detail is thoughtless. There's not a single thing that you've passed up that you thought, oh, it's fine. We'll just do that. You've been meticulous at this point to make sure that it works. Yes. Yeah. No picking the name out of the air. Very particular on this. Now, of course, now you have the royal court. What does it take for someone to be part of the royal court?
Just simply showing up. That's it. You don't even have to be subscribed to the channel. You join in. Hey, welcome to the royal court. Like, you part of the family now, whether you like it or not. You part of the family now. But yeah, that's all it takes, is literally just showing up, being you. Even if you're a silent reader of the chat and, watcher, like somebody who doesn't really talk in the chat, you're still a member of the royal court. All it takes is just showing up, like the best part about it is it's like there's no pressure to be XYZ in the royal court. Is just show up as yourself, whether you want to chat, whether you don't want to chat, whether you want to chat a lot, whether you want to talk about what happened today, something bad happened, whether you want to be positive, like even if you want to plug yourself, right? Like just literally showing up, and showing up as you.
I love that. I love that. Just as you hold that standard for yourself, you open that door for them as well. Like, here I am, being me in the full emotions, doing the games or things that we want to do on the days that we can. Come and bring yourself on that level and you're in. That's it.
Exactly.
Making it so easy access. And I love, like, there's a choice, right? You're not just a viewer. Like, as soon as you're there, you're just tuning in. That counts as being the royal court, because belonging, it's something that we all crave. It's something that we all need as humans. Most of us, I know a few of you out there, right? We'd like to pretend we're the lone wolves, even though lone wolves don't exist. They're all existing in packs. Right. How important it is that we do find community. And you offer that immediately right off the bat of saying, yes, of course, you're here. That's it. And that makes it so much easier, instead of saying like, oh, I need to, I'm only valid, or my voice only counts if I've been here for a couple months, or if I'm subscribing and I'm putting money towards it. Right. And there's a barrier that you're certainly making sure that more people, and perhaps that's also an indicator of why you've been growing so significantly. One of many decisions, right, that you've made to make it successful. I love that for you. And I thank you, because it wasn't as simple as you're turning on your camera and we're just going to see where this goes. It was every step is planned. It is intentional for trying to create the best community that you can on this space.
Absolutely. 100%. You nailed it on the head.
Thank you. Well, let's go ahead and take our little break right here. Good friends, we're going to take a 5-minute little breather, refresh our water, stretch our legs a little bit, and then we're going to come back and finish another dive into our conversation as we learn more about Miss Duchess games. We'll see you all in a hot minute. friends, and welcome back. We are in part two, our second half of Pink Pixels, where we have the Miss Duchess Games joining us. We've been having a great conversation about building community, what it means to be cozy, being our true selves that we bring, whether we're a community member or the streamer themselves. And now I want to talk more about what you had mentioned earlier, being a Black female gamer in this space. And you saw an opportunity, a gap, right, as we described, and thought, okay, here's where we are missing conversations. Here's where we're missing voices and gaming and representation. So when you entered this space, what did you think it would mean for you initially, starting out in your mind when you picture, okay, here's what I need to do to be a Black female gamer in this space?
Absolutely. So my biggest thing was not the it would really the unknown. I had no idea what it was going to be like going into it, right?
Mhm.
Because it was like there's these big creators, like there's these like two or three main big creators, like Black female gamers that I know of,
Yeah.
and then it's like anybody else I may have discovered is like a smaller creator. So it's like, where is the in between? Is there anybody who hasn't like just already been doing this for years? So I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I genuinely don't know.
Mhm.
So going into it's like I learned everything and discovered different things like along every step of the way. Like I literally went into it eyes wide open, like not knowing what in the world was gonna happen.
Who am I? What are these steps going to take? It's different when you don't have somebody who it's like, okay, here's where we can be. Here's somebody who's
Hmm.
done it more recently, who's growing at
Hmm.
that same time, and very different from like people who started growing 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Hmm.
The space was drastically different in this. And so that's very difficult. I mean, sure, there are some videos out there to like, here's some generic like OBS tips, right, to set up, and here's what you
Hmm.
should put your camera settings at. But even small things like that, when you think about lighting, right, for how long it took me for personally, when I think about how do I set up my own lighting, even now when I look and I go, oh,
Yep.
I look a lot more yellow than I have, right? How do I work with my olive skin tone? Lighting, you can't just
Hmm.
do it one size fits all. You have to find out what works for
Hmm.
you. How do you create layers and depth, and how do you tailor it to
Exactly.
who you are? So
Exactly.
that's difficult to do on your own. That's difficult to explore and say, does this,
Hmm.
how does this make my skin tone look? Suddenly, do I look flat like a 2D person? Or what was that exploration to start seeing yourself in this space and try to present yourself in that gap that you saw?
Mhm. Absolutely. I will say like one thing that helped, like as I went along, like I discovered, more gamers in the space that were Black gamers and more Black female gamers as I continued to go along. And I will say one that helped me, and this actually goes along with like kind of the story, like with me losing my job, right? Like I had like literally no money.
Hmm.
And Christine, she's already established herself in this space, right? She had put out, she's like, okay, I'm doing a course. I'm going to do a course for creators so I can help you guys. You guys are, newer. Like I want to give you guys everything you need.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money. I had like money on my credit card. I used my last bit of money on my credit card to pay for that course. Like she doesn't even know this. Like, but I used my last bit of money on my credit card to pay for that course. I was like, okay. I was like, I got to do this. I was like, I got to do this. And so I
Wow.
did that course and it gave me a lot of like instruction as far as like structure, like where I'm going and like confirmation that, okay, I'm in the right direction. Going in the right trajectory. But I also met a lot of my friends that I still have today within that course, which is pretty cool. I met a lot of amazing people who are also still creators today. But as I continued to go, like it's something that I had to realize, like I can't like copy off of anybody. Like there's like not really many people to copy off of, nor do I want to copy. Like I literally, in order to be myself and show up authentically as me and fill in that gap in a way that's not like this person, not like that person, but it's truly me. Like I really have to like figure this out, like what works for me. And so like that like took it out of that mindset of like with the first channel I had, right? Of not just, okay, well somebody did this, so I'm gonna do that. Or they played this game, I did that. Literally every single time, like I was like, okay, well, these Black gamers or these Black female gamers are playing this game. Maybe I should play this game because it's popular and the people that watch those gamers. And then I would play it and I would hate the game and I'll be like, oh, why did I do this? I knew I wouldn't like it.
This
I
isn't
knew I
me.
wouldn't like it. Right. Like that was exactly what's going on. I was like, and now they want to see more of it. Now they want to see me play this game. Now they want to see me play Outlast again. And y'all know how Outlast makes me feel. Like I'm already stressed. My heart can't take it.
Pass, pass. Anything but that game.
Okay, absolutely. But as I
Fair.
continue to go, I've met a lot of other Black female gamers, and it's pretty cool, like getting to see like all of us who has like the dreams of being something in this space and
Mm.
seeing everybody work hard towards. I made a lot of good friends in this space, and it's like that's part of what's been motivating, because oftentimes what I found is like by me like working hard and pushing hard the same way I see others do the same, that motivates me. Like if I see one of my friends like they're going, I'm okay, you know what, okay, let's go. Let's do it. Like we got to keep on going, right?
Yeah.
Or the same with me, like they'll tell me like, hey, no, like I see you're doing this, so I'm gonna keep on going as well. So it's like consistently pushing each other in this
Mm.
space where we're all trying to fill this gap at the same time. Some of us like not just only taking on, like not trying to take on the full mantle of okay, I'm filling in this gap, but
Yep.
even just being in this space, existing in this space and navigating it, just with just so happening to have that identity and everything that comes with that, being in this space is just something that's like it's also kind of endearing, right? Like when I meet another black female gamer, I'm like, oh, like it's another one, right?
Hi.
Like
It's
you know,
another
like
one.
hi.
Why does it sound like you're catching Pokemon? Like, oh,
Oh my goodness, but no, it seriously that's what it feels like, because it's like the more like I've been able to join in on spaces where I've like met so many more, and I'm like, wow, like this is so cool, like to see
yes.
more people who look like me who are doing this. But it's just crazy to see. It's like, wow, it took me having to grow and to get into certain spaces
Mm.
that a lot of people don't have access to for me to even see that representation. Whereas I should have already been seeing these things in my algorithm. I should have already been seeing these things when I was searching for them, not in an event that I'm at. This should literally be on my For You page on like why isn't this here? And why is it that this is also the only thing now that I'm in this space? This is the only thing that I see when there's still other gamers out there who play the same kind of content that I like. But now all of a sudden, because I like black gamers, black female gamers, that's the only thing I see. Why can't it be a mix? Why does it have to be either this or that, you know, within the algorithm?
And that's the question, like, why isn't this showing up? Why are we not being able to connect and find the individuals that we want in a space? And I want to know from your take,
Mhm.
especially connecting and now talking to more content creators, and of course your own
Mhm.
experience included, what is that big barrier, right? What stops,
Mhm.
right, to say like, hey, we're here. Why are we not getting these views? Is it
Mhm.
understanding like the SEO and or marketing challenges behind it? Is it choosing the right platform? Is it the support and resources? What comes into it to say these are issues that hurt representation in our spaces?
Mhm. Absolutely. I feel like on one end, it's that we're behind, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it like this, right? Like, first off, like with it just being a predominantly white space, just being very
Yeah.
real when it comes to content creation space,
Hmm.
it was already like a lot for like, okay, like there's black creators too, but it was black male creators, right?
Yeah.
But like first it was like, okay, like there's females in this space too. Okay, okay, we got some black men in this space.
Hmm.
So it's like kind of like that trickle down effect, like, oh, okay, wait, there's black females in this space. So it's like kind of like a trickle down of like discovery, but also on the second hand, that also creates kind of a the people who are already established and already there are usually going to be your bigger name white creators, or your bigger name, even if it's like a black gamer, it's going to be like a black male gamer. Like it's going to be your bigger name people who are already there. You've already discovered, you like their content, you're already
Yes.
watching, and it may not even be a thought to, oh, let me search and let me see, because it's also not even popping up. Whereas they might pop up under a video that you watch.
Mm.
We may not pop up under a video because it's like still catching up. It's still catching up in the algorithm, showing like, hey, we are here.
Hmm. And that's part of it, right? How do you teach both the algorithm and people to say, you should be looking for us? We are here. And
Yeah.
and you're right to point out historically, because the internet relies so much on history. It's like a justice court system, very stupidly in that way, right? Like I said, well, we're looking at precedents. Oh, well,
Mhm.
history will tell us on the internet that white male content creators are the most consumed content, right? So of
Mm.
course we're going to continue to push that out because there's a
Push that
history of it
out.
being successful, even though in terms of like access, economic tools, support has also only been
Mhm.
to them. So that way it amplifies it, right? Or
Absolutely.
right then we started to see like the Nick's voice come up, but it takes time. You have to build.
Mhm.
It wants to see, okay, is there previous success around this? Are there others that are successful? How can we duplicate it? And that's a
Mhm.
difficult grind to go around.
Absolutely. And I feel like even with solutions to that, it kind of ends up being a two-edged sword. And I'll give an
Mm.
example of that, right? I feel like nowadays we're starting to get more like groups or organizations or people who are specifically like, okay, let's elevate smaller creators, right?
Yeah.
Let's elevate the voices that aren't heard, right? But then in a sense that also kind of puts us or anybody who falls kind of under a specific category in a certain box, right? As an other, because now I'm just a Black female gamer and not just a gamer who anybody who enjoys this particular game should see, if that makes sense. And now, like, the people who I'm marketed to or the people who I'm recommended to, it's like, oh, you're Black. Okay, you should watch this. You should watch this other Black creator, rather than it just being literally anybody and everybody. But that's also like I said, like, why I was so intentional with the way I started my channel and the way I went about myself and the way I like carry myself, and the way that it was like everybody is welcome. And I love that I have a diverse community as well. Like I have people who look like me, but it's a diverse community. But that's because I was very intentional about creating a community that made it feel comfortable for anybody to be, no matter what your race, gender, ethnicity, orientation, whatever it is, anything.
Yes. It's that intentional choice. And you're right to mention, like, as we're growing, how certain identities can also create like barriers. Like, by doing this, does it mean like, oh, I only want to connect with people like me? And you're like, that's not what I'm meaning. That's not what I'm
right.
meaning. But I want to address the very stupid argument out there, because people say that, or the question out there is, why does diversity matter? Why does it matter if we're all just playing games, right? Who does it matter that it's coming from this person versus that person? That why does it matter that I should not just follow only all white males? Why should I look to add different voices and personalities and people to my space, right? It's not a great question, but I want to hear your answer to how do we respond to someone who says something like that?
Because in a world that in itself is diverse, why does it require effort to have diversity? Like, that's, I mean, but that's like, that's very real. It shouldn't.
That's good. That's
listen. But it's real. Like, why does it require effort, especially in a space where these platforms are available worldwide? But why does it require effort to see a diverse audience? Why does it require effort for me to type in, if I have to find a gamer, I have to type in Black gamer. I have to type in Black female gamer. Or if I want to watch a Fortnite player, Black Fortnite player, Black Fortnite, like female, like I have to put in all these specifications. But why is it so much effort for it to be diverse? So if you're saying, why should I? Because that's the way that it's currently been designed. We have to. You can say you love diversity all you want, but you're currently playing into what we have right now by not putting in the effort, which means they're going to be like, they're still going to see those same numbers, be like, oh yeah, this is the audience that works really well. Yeah, this is doing great. And so those numbers are not changing, and they're seeing that this is working. And right now we're in a space where now money is involved, right? You have advertisements. That's how creators make their money. They're going to go with where the big dollars are, because they have to sell to this company, hey, you should advertise on my platform because we have this demographic here. And this is the demographic that they have because this is what's making the most money. So when it comes to amplifying voices, the first focus is, okay, how do I amplify the voices that are already there? Which is going to be the ones that it's not a very diverse group already.
It
off
feeds
top.
into itself. It's a cycle.
Exactly.
It's a cycle that continues to suppress not only just the voice, but even the identity, the existence. Like you don't see it unless you are specifically looking for it.
Exactly. And that is a huge part of the problem. But when you have creators who are already big and already have the privilege of being up there or being the white male voice or the white female voice, right, in this space, it's important that they are intentionally, creating diverse audiences, or being very intentional about welcoming a diverse audience, or being very welcoming of other creators that don't look like them or have the experiences them, in this space, not as like a charity case, but as a way to help bridge that area that just hasn't been filled, because we can't fill it on our own. Unfortunately, we can as much as we want to, but that's where that double-edged sword comes in. It's still kind of like an other. It's like this person and then this person is completely separate, two different categories.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's the challenge of like, how much do you put yourself in a category and recognizing, right, your identity, but how you want others to talk about it. And I don't like to, just because of the depth and to be honest, my own ability to navigate publicly these conversations on the political platform, but it's hard not to see that same kind of challenge being mirrored currently on the presidential election of how do we identify, how does that limit or encourage who resonates with whom? and that connection, policies aside, because oftentimes some of these arguments aren't evolving into the policy discussions themselves, but there's such a conversation on identity. And it shows how it's permeated many levels of our lives, not just with content creators, right? And so these conversations feel so much more exasperated because it's not just, hey, you want your voice to exist on YouTube in the same way that you want your voice to exist anywhere else in the world, right? Like,
right. No, absolutely.
There's layers and in that mimicry of where we see it in so many more spots. It's not just here of where it exists, but we see it, right? As consumers of content, as creators of content, it's easy for us just to hyper focus and say, well, in this context, right? How do we address this?
Absolutely. Like the same double-edged sword, like it like you talk about kind of like a history, right? With the cycle, right? If you even go back to like, look at the way the United States started, we were so set on this identity, like, yes, we're separate, we're us. But ironically enough, when you look on the inside of the United States, it's not just one, like, yes, it's all together. It's just so much separation. You would think, like, they like to call us like the melting pot, which in reality it's like when you try to put a certain type of cheese in a pot so that it can melt, and then it like kind of melts. It don't melt all the way, but it's melting. Not all the way. Like,
you mean that cheap American cheese that I bought, and it's like, why isn't it matching with this high-end Colby that I
right, exactly. Exactly.
Got it.
Wow, what the accuracy of that? Actually, no, it's actually crazy.
It's fitting really well.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, there's a reason why. Yeah. Okay. But you're right. Like there's this weird balance, especially in the US, because we're such a unique place in our history of how do we find cohesiveness, we find appreciation, we find celebration in who we are without diminishing it, but not allowing it to be a wall, to be a fence, to be a barrier.
Yes,
I'm sweaty talking about this topic. So.
No, like it's something that I still try to navigate like every day, right? You know, growing, I'll give a prime example of this, right? Of like, it's so how hard it is to navigate. I grew up, you know, middle-class family. Like my family did very well for ourselves. Like my parents, like, were very intentional about that. My dad in the military, my mom working as well, because they wanted to give me and my siblings the best lives that we could have, right? And so they did very well. So with that, it's like, oh, well, you know, you're not one of those poor Black people who grew up and is now like, you have this story of like from rags to riches type, you know. It's a weird thing of being in a space where it's like, oh, well, who are you if you didn't struggle the same way that we've been, the same way that it's been portrayed on TV or media in this other space for what you to look like. It's like, well, where do I fit? Or it's like navigating
one narrative.
Yes, like people oftentimes don't think about those different things and how like it's just so many layers to it. It's just so many layers to it. It's like who are you? Like, you didn't, I mean, you're pretty well. Like, what are you complaining about? What do you have to talk about? Like, you did, like, your family did well. Like, how could you possibly complain?
That shows again how complicated and how oftentimes we're reduced to one note. That goes back to your point earlier, like, you don't want to be labeled as like a cute gamer girl kind of thing, and that's it, because it is easy. We put people in notes and we say, that's who you are, that's how I understand you. Along, right?
Yes.
Paper lanterns laughs. Yeah, as a Black girl too, the "you're so articulate" comments that come.
Yes, or you're one of the good ones. I've gotten that. Oh. Yeah, from somebody who I thought of as a friend. Oh, you're one of the good ones. And they meant that, and they truly meant it as a compliment. And of course, I was younger. I didn't know. I said, "Oh, thank you." I didn't even
well,
register.
When you first hear it, especially from a friend. That's so disarming. Goodness, what is it like to look back and have to recontext experiences like that?
I would say, so I'm actually a political science major. That's what I studied in school.
All right,
so absolutely. So the reason I say that is because with growing up the way I did, there was a lot of experiences that I didn't have, but also a lot of experiences like culturally that would make I guess others look at me as less black. So when I went to my first few years of college, I went to a predominantly white college, but I went to an HBCU, a historically black college university, for which is where I graduated from. But having that experience being around other people like me, um, I started to like notice different things, right? Because at my school, like they made an emphasis to like actually like teach us different things, like different things to look out for and to understand historically, understand politically, different things that like I may not like things I may not have been even able to talk about today, like understand, like be able to articulate it, right?
Right.
So as I got older, it was like, dang, I was like, I remember so and so saying this, or like I want like one of my closest friends, like, she supported a certain party and a certain person. I was like, oh, like I just registered, like I just realized like, and so like for it was actually for a little while like I hadn't talked to her because I was like, dang, I was like, I don't like, is that really my friend?
Hmm.
Like it was like a lot of stuff that I had to read. And that's like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And like I had to like rethink. I was like, wow, I was like who am I? Like who is she type of thing. And like I
Mhm.
eventually talked to her about it. She's like, no, she's like, listen, I was younger when I said that. I didn't know what I was talking about. I was just listening to what was on TV and what people were saying. Like I didn't understand. Like we had that conversation and we were like, talk about it. But it was just like different things that like I had to like relearn and like kind of create like a new standard in my head for the way I go about things. And like that goes back to like being in this space, like especially being a black female gamer, like understanding that with me being somebody who particularly is not just existing in the space, but particularly wants to fill up a gap and be a representation in this space, the way that I carry myself matters so much. And if I show up trying to look like somebody else or act like somebody else or act like my white peers, right? That's what I'm going to be representing. So when I make it there, when I get to that point where I feel like I'm really there, like I've really permeated this space, you know, I don't want it to be tainted by me not having shown up truly authentically as myself, which is not just a black female gamer, but it's me.
Yeah.
I am a gamer. I am a streamer. I am an individual, right? But I'm also like authentically myself. Like my experience is everybody else's experience. So like it's just the intentionality of it that's changed for me because of like having a better understanding of that and what the implications of like of everything around me, of the space we're in, and the separations within the space or the groups that are within this space.
I love this, and it's so also alarming to hear how much thought and reflection and awareness you have, not even just turning on the camera, right? But as a person, at the end of the day, you have to be very aware of who you are and how you relate to people, how people can see you. What does that mean to
Yep.
how you get to exist in that space? And that's not something everyone has to do, of saying, how do I exist in that space? How do I have to defend who I am or why my voice matters?
Hmm. Absolutely. It's it's something that literally everybody is going to have to go with like individually. Like it's not like a group answer, like this is the formula, this is how we solve it, this is how you deal with it. It's like everybody has to have their own individual experience with this space in this space and navigate it the best they know how, but like still staying true to themselves. And as cheesy and as cliche as it sounds,
Just be
like
true to yourself.
it's
Follow your heart.
right. But it's
Yeah.
honestly, it's so true. It's so true. And I feel like because it's cliche, it's probably underrated.
Yeah.
Like be like truly being yourself. Like you hear so many times, oh, go search what somebody else is doing on their channel and what's working well for them. You can implement that. But like I feel like a lot of times we often sometimes lose ourselves within this space if you let it.
Yeah.
And I found myself doing that. Like I told you, like even though I was like, okay, maybe I should do 18 plus streams and all that stuff, because I was like, like the numbers will get better, and the numbers did get better. But I was like, I'm not even myself. This isn't even me. Like the conversations that are happening right now on this stream, I'm like, oh my god, like this,
Yeah.
like
Pump the
what are we?
brakes. Wait.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm losing part of myself. Like I really had to like rein it in, like to the point where it became more about like showing up as myself, to the point where I lost the desire. Like a lot of the collaborations and stuff that I wanted to do, I was like, oh, like it would be nice to have this goal to collaborate with this streamer and this streamer because they're really up there. Like I would feel like I'm accomplished if I do that. But I'm like, if I do that, like what is that going to really accomplish? Especially for somebody who doesn't really represent what I'm trying to do. Somebody who I would have to edit out every other word because they're cussing every other word, which is fine for them, but
It's
it
gonna
doesn't
sound
make
like a
sense.
beat in the background for you.
Right, right, exactly. I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me. That's
Mhm.
it's not me. And like that's a huge reason of why, like, even this year, like I transitioned into doing a lot of like the streams and stuff by myself, not because I'm like a lone wolf, but in the sense of recognizing like there's a lot of like power
Mhm.
in truly showing up as your authentic self.
Yes.
And in doing that, like I was able to attract a community of people who was diverse because of that,
Mhm.
not like trying to bring in a certain audience or this person's audience, that person's audience, but like literally just showing up as me.
Yes.
Not
I
the black me, not the female me, me.
all You're layered,
Hmm.
you're comprehensive, your identity is multifaceted, and that's so important. You said like that it's underrated, but even more so than that, it is difficult to be oneself. That takes a lot of work.
Hmm.
The degree of awareness you have of who you are and to explore who you are and to create something that is authentically you is so much harder. It's easier to say like, "Oh, that's what that person is doing. I'm going to do what they're doing." You can always being a mimic so much easier. You don't have to make any decisions on your own. You don't have to,
Hmm.
create anything. You don't have to do any reflective work or decisions. It's not on you. Every failure or every win, it's on somebody else. It certainly takes the
Yep.
burden off. It's difficult to be
Hmm.
you. It's exhausting.
Absolutely.
I mean, I imagine also incredibly rewarding as well, right? To
Hmm.
be able to say, this is my voice in this space. This is the community and amazing individuals who also want to have their authentic self in this space as
Hmm.
well. That is truly beautiful, but that is not easy.
Not at all. And I would say it's more of a long-term reward type of thing
Hmm.
because in the short term, I'll give an example, right?
Yeah.
I hit my 1,000 subscribers at the end of last year. The beginning of this year, I was like, okay, like I really want to like put out new kinds of content. I want to see what works best to get me the most viewers. So I was like, I'm going to do a reaction content too.
Yeah.
So I did a reaction to a League of Legends video. I don't play League of Legends. I don't know anything about League of Legends. I just reacted to it because I was like, this is trending
Yeah.
and it's cool. It's only 2 minutes. I can react to this. Boom, blew up. It's got like 100,000 views right now. And that's where I got like the majority of my subscribers
Hmm.
who subscribed to me for the League of Legends content. And I was like, I don't even play League of
Duckies.
Legends. Right. So like even like it's a process that works in the long term because it's like I'm still finding myself because it's like I have all these subscribers and it's like it's hard not to be like, okay, just play League of Legends content. I mean, you got the subscribers now. I
Hmm.
mean, you'll get the views. Like you got it. You're there. But that's not me. I've never touched that game a day in my life. And honestly, I don't think it's my kind of game. I would try it, yes, for the one time.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, it's like it's so easy to be like, okay, well, you can just lean into this and you'll have it. You'll
Hmm.
have it. You have everything you need. But like I just take a step back from that. So it was like, whereas you would think of somebody from the outside, oh well, she gained all these subscribers. Why doesn't the viewership match? Because I'm playing what I want to play.
Hmm.
I'm having fun with the content that I want to play, right? And you
Yes.
see I've transitioned into playing a lot of these cozy games where normally I would play horror games or shooters, right? But the important thing for me is like I would rather build an audience who would sit there and watch anything that I want to play rather than they're only here for one piece of content. Now, of course, anybody can want to watch a specific game or something like that.
Yes.
But I don't want to build an audience off of a specific game and I feel stuck in that box of only having to be able to play that game or be in that genre. Like I'm such a multifaceted person. That's why a huge shift that I've had is moving to also incorporating lifestyle content because it's like I want them to be understand like this is me. Like this is this is Duchess. This is not only Duchess, this is Taylor.
Yeah.
This is Taylor. Like I want y'all to know, like, yes, I'm Duchess. But as far as me, like the real me, like bringing me into this, like this is who I am. This is what I enjoy. This is what I want to do. Like I want to bring it all together because it all like plays such an important role into who I am. And so what as I'm growing in this space, what I want to brand myself as, like authentically is me.
I love that. I think that's such a beautiful explanation. And again, it reminds people that when they go to find content creators, right, it's about finding that right match. It's okay if they just really want League of Legends content,
Yeah.
right? That's fine.
Mhm.
Then go find that. Like, like I wish you the
Right.
best. Go on your journey.
Mhm.
But if you want to connect with Taylor, if you want to have this space where we play games together, right,
Mhm.
that's finding that that combo of like, here's where magic happens, here's where good
Mm-hmm.
things happen, here's where you're gonna find that home, that
Yep.
community, not just here's the tutorial on how to do this thing so you can leave and then never, there's a difference. There's a
Yep.
different type of content that you're making there. It's hard.
Mhm. Yeah, it's honestly helped though so much because I told you I'm very straightforward with my community. That also has helped me further foster a trusting community where I could be very straightforward with them and be like, look, like, because somebody could be in there like, when are you gonna play this game? Where are you gonna play this game? Da, da, da. And I'll just be straight. I'll be look, I'm not gonna play that game. I'll be
Yeah.
very real with you. I'm not.
Nope.
I can't.
Play
I
League
won't.
of
I
Legends.
love you very. Look, I'm like, I love you very much. I really do. I will not be playing that game. I'm sorry. Maybe one day for the one time, but it's not gonna be a full series. I will not commit to anything unless I actually enjoy it and want to play it. But I I don't know. That's a big piece of advice that I would give anybody as well. Like, just be very straightforward. Like, what you make your community is how they're gonna show up. Like, if you the way you show up is how they're gonna show up. They're gonna reciprocate that, right? So the way I show up, if I start talking crazy, acting crazy, what are they gonna do? They're gonna start talking crazy, acting crazy. If I'm positive, uplifting, what are they? They're positive, uplifting, but I'm cozy, chaotic. So what that mean? They're cozy, chaotic too. We can be cozy, we can be chaotic, just in the same.
It's a balance, right? Of like, how do we strike that and guide it? And you offer that as the example, like here's what that balance looks like, and having those conversations. Now I see ITS noted something in chat, and you do horror games, right? He knows like seeing chat's egg on creators to play horror games specifically to see them scared, right, is disturbing, right? Like that can be hard. Like there's a balance of talking, encouraging, or having fun versus this is what I want you to do. All right, you do this thing for me.
And that's the thing that I'm like, I will straightforward. I will literally say no, and I will say it with all the love, but I will literally just say no. Like, I'll be like, okay, like put it on the list. Like, if you have a suggestion, we got to list in Discord, put it in there. Cause when I'm going through like, okay, what should I play next? Like, I'll go and choose from the list, but I'm gonna choose a game that I want to play. Because the thing is, if y'all gonna watch me play a game that I don't want to play, neither of us are gonna want to be there, and neither of us gonna want to watch it. You know, like I'm gonna be very real. Like, cause I'm not gonna be talking, like if it's this game that I'm genuinely too scared to play, like you're just gonna be sitting there watching me be quiet.
Yep.
And it's not gonna be fun for either of us.
No one's gonna enjoy this. And I think that's
exactly,
it's such a reminder that when people come to this space that they need to treat you equally as a human.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that you said that. I love the way you put that, because that is so true. And I expect nothing less. The same way that I treat them, I expect them to treat me. And like, if you don't like I will literally tell people, like, I for example, sometimes people will come in the chat and they'll be like, why should I subscribe to you? And I'll be like, because you want to. Either you do or you don't, but welcome in. Welcome to the first point. Like, just like simple as that. Like, welcome. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and make an argument as to why you should be here. Right.
Yeah. Were they expecting an immediate pitch for you to pull out? Like, hold on, I've got 5 key points.
Right. And honestly, like, the thing is, some creators will do that. Like, they will do that, not because of they just have it prepared, but it's like, oh, well, I want somebody to subscribe to me. Like, I feel like I should honor that question, right? So this is why you should subscribe to me, because I do this, rather than just letting them show up for you because they want to.
Yeah. I get it though. As somebody who bends very easily, I am no mountain. I'll call myself out on this. I understand, and it comes personally, right, from a lack of willingness to respect our own selves and the boundaries that we have for ourselves, that we don't care about ourselves, and we're willing to put others so far in front of us, including complete strangers who come in and offer just like a rude question or a rude statement, and we give everything from that because we don't think that we deserve or that we absolutely need to have every single person to like us.
And also, like, helping them understand, like, I'm very candid. Like, I'll give an example. When I was first starting my channel, like, I let them know, this is my goal, this is what I'm doing here. Like, this is exactly y'all, I really would love to get this channel monetized. If I can get it monetized, I can start reinvesting back into this. So you know what that means? I need to get these watch hours up. So y'all, I'm gonna let y'all know right now, if I gotta go on a bathroom break, I'm gonna need y'all to hold down the chat. Like, hold down the chat. I'm gonna tell you how many hours we at and everything, right? That's it. But like, keeping that same energy if it's something that's even like more on the negative side, or something that's on the more sad side. Like, I remember one time something happened and like I started having an anxiety attack while I was on stream, right? And so I literally was very candid. Like, listen, y'all, I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm gonna go. I need to take a break. If I'm okay to come back and continue streaming, I will. I left the stream running. They held it down in the chat, just held it down, just like kept talking and everything. And mind you, this isn't like me having like 50 people in there, 100 people in there. This is me having like 7, 8 people in there when I first started, and all of them stayed and they stuck around. But I've been very candid with them. Like, this is like when you're first starting, like that's not something normal. Like you leave and then they all just stay. Yeah, they're like they all stay and chill. Right. But like, but that's why I shout out so many people, because a lot of those people, like, they're still here. And like, even like when they get busy, like they'll still like show up and they'll stick around, right? And they'll still support. But like, that's because I've been very candid with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very candid with them, because it's like the last thing I'd want to do is just create a space where everything just feels like when you go to work and you kind of put on that work voice or that work personality. And it's like, yeah, we're cool. Like, I'm friends with my coworkers, but like, not really. But yeah, we're cool.
We've got a professional like relationship. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I'd rather it feel more personal. Like, of course, I don't know like all of them like in person, but I'd rather it be more personal, because that's the space that I want to create. Like, that's the space that I want it to feel like.
Yeah. Well, there's an appreciation, because at the end of the day, at the base exchange here is that you're all giving each other time. And that is such a rare commodity to have in these spaces, to give people your time. That's hard. I mean, there's a million things that we can all be doing, literally. And so many of us have a lot of work, or people that we should be talking to, or dogs that need baths, a variety of things that can draw our attention. And where we give our time shows really what matters to us, where we divvy it up. And so when people bring that, when you stream, when your community shows up, when they help with those watch hours, right? It's recognizing the value that's being shared there, of the care that's being shared there, the investment from both ends to say, we want this. We want to work towards this goal together. I think that's important. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that personal touch means a lot.
Absolutely. It really does. Like, this, at the end of the day, like, from understanding it from a creator perspective, it can be very mentally draining, because you are using up energy. You could be as relaxed and personable in yourself as you want, but the second you turn on that camera, you are still giving away a part of yourself, which is very draining. It can be very draining, which is why I don't do those 12, 14-hour streams anymore. But right, absolutely. So just like recognizing that and just respecting yourself in that regard, to the point where, like, if I'm going to be on this camera and I'm going to be giving away part of myself, it's kind of like, you know, that saying, like, where you say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Like, with what I'm doing, trying to foster this space and trying to bring positivity into people's lives while sharing a part of myself, I need to make sure I'm filling up my cup. I can't pour from an empty cup. I literally need to fill up my cup and continuously do so. I can't just fill it up once. I need to continuously fill up my cup so that I can then pour into others' cups. Like, it's as simple as that.
Yes. See, I hear that and I think, but maybe if I scratch the bottom of the cup and chip away at it, maybe I can pour a little bit more.
Well, like, if I scoop it out, like, get a spatula and just, you know, scrape the sides.
Yeah, little knife to chip away at the bottom. There's something more to be given here until, like, there's no cup, right? Which is, okay, maybe this is becoming a much more harder metaphor, but it's true, right? And I think this is a conversation that everyone needs to have, like, how important it is, yes, to take care of ourselves at the end of the day, that we're, whether you're the streamer, or even as a community member, right? There's a million things that can be pulling us in different directions. And it's good to take those moments to reflect and say, hold on, who am I? What do I want out of this? What do I need out of this?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the biggest things I tell people is, do not go into content creation unless you know what your why is. If you do not know your why, you will not be successful. I'm telling you right now. You may have a short run. You may do very well. You could post a video and it goes viral and you get 1 million subscribers. But as far as longevity and you being able to last in this space, if you do not know your why, when you don't have the motivation, when you're feeling tired one day, when you're like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I got to do this. I got to work. I got to all this stuff. You're not going to have anything to push you. There's not going to be anything to push you. Motivation is fleeting. You have motivation at one point. It's like New Year motivation, right? New Year motivation starts. Everybody goes to the gym. And then what happens? Like we fall off. Like it's very, I've been there. I've done that. Like,
Yes.
like we fall off, right? But when I have a why, when I've had a why, oh, I be in that gym. I'll go every day. I'll go twice a day. And I've done it because I had a why. Like,
Mhm.
like, and it was fun. And I had fun. I had that motivation. And when the motivation was fleeting, I was like, no, this is the reason why I'm doing this. So I got to go. Even if I don't feel like it, I got to do it. Even if I don't feel like it. Right.
Right.
And it's such a great thing to remember because it shows you that it's a balance, right? A balance between fighting for your why and fighting for yourself. Because yes, you need to push, right? Like there's gonna be certain times you don't feel like it and you got to push, but at the same time, you also got to still make sure you're taking care of yourself. So it's finding that balance that works best for you. It's gonna ebb and flow. It's never gonna be the same balance. It's always gonna shift and it's gonna change. The need may rise when it comes to your why, or the need may rise when it comes to what you need. Because you never know. You could get sick. Something could happen in your family. You get a new job, or you lose a job, right? Like this is something I haven't even shared this with my subscribers yet, right? Because they don't know. Like I was like a week and a half ago. What was it? It's like 2 weeks now. I was like, guys, okay, listen, I'm gonna have to cancel the rest of the streams. I have a personal emergency and a family emergency, but they don't know this, but I literally had lost my job. I had just gotten this job, dream job, perfect job, absolutely loved it. Remote, great pay, loved my boss, everything.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like the company itself, like just wasn't doing great. So they had to lay off a bunch of people, just current economy stuff, right? I just gotten this job and then I lost it just like that. And I'm like, bro, this is the second job that I've had to leave this year. I'm like, I just finally got my dream job, like a job that I can see myself staying in like forever till I need to retire. Finally. And then lost my job. I was like, bro, what do? I was like, I need to take a step back. Because if I don't, what I know I'm gonna do and what I have done before, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna be streaming every day and I'm gonna be streaming all day. I'm gonna be like, okay, this is my time. I was like, nope, if I don't take a step back and take some time for myself, it's just not gonna go well. It's not.
Yeah. You're gonna just run yourself into the ground.
Exactly, which isn't going to help anything because I'm like, eventually I'm going to have another job. And the last thing I'd want to do is like create this precedent of the same thing I did before of something that I can't uphold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then trying to uphold that and a job at the same time. Oh my goodness.
You're taking the time to think of what not just you need in this moment, but what future you needs. It's so easy to say in this moment, if I just keep streaming, yeah, we could be the practical thing like, yeah, maybe it'll bring in a few more dollars, or more so is it's going to distract me from the situation that I have right now. Or let's be a little honest here.
Yes. And I also didn't want it to become about the money.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I've worked in media, I've worked in advertising. I know all the tools and tricks, understand the analytics down to a T. So I'm like, I could do all the stuff that's going to make the views and make the money, but I don't want it to become about that because that's not what it's supposed to be. And then at that point, then it becomes a job. And then by the time I have another job, it's not going to be fun no more.
Yeah. You don't want to have that knee-jerk reaction of, well, this is what I want to do right now. I'm just going to do this. I think that's so smart that you're thinking, when I get, again, to where I want to be, how do I set myself up and what do I want this to look towards? You're thinking about that vision. You have a goal. You have a dream of like, here's where I'm going to be. And you're working towards that. You're creating the steps to build those healthy boundaries. That's so smart. It's not, well, here's what I got to do for now. That's not a good or healthy approach. And we burn ourselves out.
Absolutely.
What a tough lesson. And I'm so sorry. That's on top of it, right? Like there's layers to how we can feel about situations like that. And it's different when you have to also think about, how do I not only understand my own emotions, but how do I share those emotions with others?
Yes, because that's a big thing, right? How much do you share when it comes to content creation? Yes, Royal Court, I love Royal Court, we're a family. This is also content at the same time. It's navigating how much of myself do I give in that capacity? How much do I share in that capacity? Because also the more you share, the more that's expected of you.
Yep. You open that door, it keeps opening.
You open that door, absolutely, because it establishes a layer of trust, right? Because you think about when people don't share different things, like if somebody doesn't share anything about their pregnancy, which they are well within their right to do, you see people when they finally show their baby, oh, you lied about this, you did it. It wasn't anybody's business in the first place, but theirs. But because they've shared more of that information like that in the past, people feel a certain right to certain information. They feel entitled to certain information. And from the viewer perspective, I understand it's not all in a malicious way. It's just like you're invested in this person. You're invested in what they do. So me seeing that, I try to be so mindful of what I share and how I share it and when I share it as well.
You're right. And they're not wrong choices, but it's understanding the challenges that come with it, right? Like of choosing to share
Mhm.
pregnancy or a
Mhm.
medical emergency or right, a mental health situation or
Mhm.
difficult things that we're going through or anything, right? It's
Mhm.
understanding that when you take those things publicly, now there's a different level of interaction
Yep.
that comes with it, which is difficult to be able to go through. Choosing that right
Mhm.
time is hard. I appreciate your decisions. And there's also the added layer of being in content creation on top of this. We're speaking so many layers. This is a 9-layer cake at this point. But there's the challenge on top of it of knowing that this is, well, it's not about the money. These are monetized, right? To
Mhm.
make money off of your own trauma, your own challenges. And then
Mhm.
sometimes I applaud it. Like I love it. Like when people say on TikTok, like if you watch this, this helps take care of my dog's vet bills. I'm watching that 20
Mhm.
million times. Right. Or watching this, like it helps cover my cancer treatments or it helps me do this.
Mhm.
Like that openness is important and
Mhm.
can be very valuable, but it's also that challenge of, you're right, as you've mentioned before, that precedence. That's hard.
Absolutely.
That's a difficult door to
Absolutely.
open. You have such depth to your conversations, and it has been so inspiring and lovely to see just how detailed you have been and purposeful with who you are and how you share yourself to create a meaningful, authentic version of who you are. Not only, of course, one that you get to experience that for yourself, which I think is the most important and beautiful thing for us to understand who we are in ourselves and to feel comfortable expressing it, but that you then
Mhm.
share that with your community, that you came here and you shared it with us here on Pink Pixels. I appreciate it. It's truly something beautiful. You are a very beautiful individual. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Well, don't turn this on me. Don't. I don't do. I'm not comfortable with compliments. No, no,
Well, I
no, no,
take it
no.
all back then. I
Shush,
take it.
shush.
Nothing nice will ever
You
be said
shut
again.
your pretty lips. But I want people to continue to be able to follow you, to engage with you. Please let us know, where can they follow you? Where can they find you? When's your next live stream that you got going on that is not a 12-hour stream?
Yes. You guys can find me everywhere at Miss Duchess Games. No T. Everybody puts a T. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I never saw Duchess spelled with a T until I became Duchess. Now all of a sudden everybody spells it with a T. It's the
Where do they
weirdest
put the
thing.
T? Dutch? Dutch? Oh,
But see,
Dutch.
before the C, yeah, I've never seen nobody,
Ah.
not a single person do that until I made my name Duchess. But it's Miss Duchess Games, no T, but it's usually a period between ms.duchess games. You can find me on all platforms with the same name. The next stream, I'm be honest with you guys, I can't tell you guys what the next stream is because I don't know when it will be. I'm definitely on a little break right now, but if you guys want to stick around, I am still posting content. I do still post short form content and engage in the Discord. We will have some community nights and stuff coming up. I will make sure to do that. So if you want to join Miss Duchess Games and if you guys want to join the Discord, you can find that in the link in my bio on my YouTube videos or on Instagram.
Even better. And if you join the community, then you can get the little ping of when you do go live or just to stay connected
Yes,
and meet some of the many other wonderful community members as well.
absolutely. You can join the Royal Court.
The royal court. Time to join the royal court. I feel like everyone should get like a little crown, like a Burger King crown when they join.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
You just need like a printable. Like you can print it off and wear it in your home. Like you deal with this, but I've designed, here's your core. You know, part of the gift. I love it. Also, small little note. I think it's a nice slogan if you say Duchess with no T, because you don't offer that.
Duchess with no T.
I kind of like it.
I love
It's
that.
kind of
I
cute.
love that. I love that.
You
I love that.
you are just an absolute dream. Thank you again so much, Miss Duchess Games. Good friends. Give a follow across social medias, definitely on YouTube, join the Discord. Remember, in this space, it's not only enriching to be here and to have these conversations and take them in and soak them into your soul and just feel absolutely replenished by it, but to make sure that, right, that you are feeding yourself continuously. Take an inventory of your socials. Who are you following on Instagram? Who are you following on YouTube? Right? What is the variety of voices that you get in there? What kind of tone and energy do they give you from this? Miss Duchess Games gives such a fun, enlightening space. Make sure that you add this into your digital life so you have the same joy here as well. All right. We're going to go ahead and wrap up today. One final thank you, Miss Duchess Games. Any final words before we wrap up our stream this day?
No, just thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate being able to be here and share my voice and just share more about what's on my mind. And also, further still amplify voices in this space. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Here, here, here. Well, thank you so much. And good friends, if you came over here to join us over on the Pink Pixels channel, give the gamers a follow. This is also a space where you can find other women in the gaming space. But also, if you just want to support women in the gaming space, you don't have to be a woman to follow, as it turns out, or to use the app or to join, because we're just looking for supporters, people who recognize that our voices deserve to be in this space and to help amplify. So check us out. We'll be back here again next Monday for another episode of Pink Pixels. And until then, take care of yourself, drink tons of water, and of course, eat whatever food you need to make your soul happy. All right? That's where we're at. Bye, everyone.